All right, everybody, what's happening? We're at the Lowe's Garden Center, the big boy, the big Lowe's here in Springfield, Missouri. Let's get in there. I'm on the hunt for some clearance plants. Let's do it. The clearance dungeon, here we go. They've got some blue rug junipers for $11. Not too bad of a deal if you need blue rugs. Getting them for $11 is a lot better than paying $22.98, which is the original price. Was more interested in seeing these pieris. So this is the Enchanted Forest Collection River Run. So Enchanted Forest Collection River Run Pieris japonicum. I have a really hard time getting these to do what I want them to do. We treat them like an azalea here. Now this variety is supposed to get 6x6. I've never seen one that big in my area. You guys might have better luck with it than I do, but I like the color contrast. And if you can get these, the new growth is red. There's some new growth right there. And the flowers are beautiful. They're evergreen. It's just one of those things. It scores really high until you start planting it a lot and realize that it's really just hard to keep going. Got a Crimson Pygmy Barberry, which is not my favorite, but it does have some pretty red color on it. These get 2 to 3 feet tall, 2 to 3 feet wide. I don't know. That's a lot of, I like Concords just because they stay so much smaller, and some of the other varieties stay a lot smaller. Someone was asking me why I don't talk about red twig a couple videos ago, and I do. I like the red twig dogwood. I like them isolated or planted in mass on berms and things like that. The thing about the red twig, and I've given this tip before, so if you've heard it before, I apologize, but every 3 years, you need to either knock them down to the ground or break them up into 3 circles, right? So an inner circle, a middle circle, and an outer circle. And then every year, trim one of those circles out. Because after 3 years, they have a tendency to get woody, and then they lose that vibrant red color. So I like the circle method. I also know people that every 3 years, they will cut back the third if they're planted in mass. So, you know, year 1, I'm gonna cut this one back. Then I'm gonna count 3. 1, 2, 3. The next one I'm going to cut back. 1, 2, 3. The next one I'm going to cut back. The next year, it's easy to identify, right? So then you're going to cut the one back that was right next to this one the year prior. Cut that one back. 1, 2, 3. Cut that one back. 1, 2, 3. And so you're always getting those, and then you don't have to do it again for 3 years. So, you know, every year you're going to have to cut back the third one, but that's a technique for like big maintenance stuff, like a golf course. Let's just say a golf course or something like that, where you have, you know, 100 of these you have to take care of, and there just needs to be a system. Because if there's no system, then, you know, it's going to be absolute chaos. And then somebody's going to forget to do it one year, and you really have to be able to keep track of it. I was talking to a guy, and he had a tower. They were like a vegetable tower, like aeroponics vegetable tower. And he was having a hard time. He wanted to buy a fertilizer for like $600 to keep the fertilizer going in there. And I go, you don't have a clipboard and a laminated sheet of paper? I mean, I feel like that's, you know, he worked for a non-for-profit, so they might have had to spend the money, but food pantry kind of thing, and they were like growing tomatoes and things like that, which is a really good idea. Become self-sufficient with that, that's ideal. But I was just like, you don't have a, I mean, I wasn't being mean about it. I was like, the best way that I found is with a clipboard and a wax pencil with a laminated sheet, and then you just keep track of it, and somebody puts their initial on it and a date, and when they updated the fertilizer, and when they tested the acidity of the water, and, you know, all that jazz. Here's something cool. Blushing ruffles. Blushing ruffles daylilies. The reason I'm giggling about that is because I have a bunch of the ruffles series in my front, and I can't tell if, I've been always calling it pink ruffles, but all this year I've seen blushing ruffles. So I don't know what I have. That's kind of cute. 8.48. So $4 a piece. Let's see how many we got in here. Discount daylily. That's all it says on there. Discount. There's another one here. This is Serena Sunburst. Serena Sunburst. That's $12. Let's go see if we can find some more. You know what? Let's just get a cart. I don't know. No, we're not getting a cart. We're not getting a cart. Ooh, this is kind of cool. These names, I don't read the words so well. This is designer threads, so thread leaf coreopsis, right, versus the lance leaf. Somebody tell me what this word is. C-A-L-I-C-O. Creamy. Calico? I don't know. But anyway, that's pretty cool. And those are going to be, see, $11.98. That's going to take us into that $7 range. Doggone it. See, if that was $4, I would take every last one of them that they had. They've got some other daylilies over here too. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're well watered, just dripped all over my pants here. It's the same thing as this. It's like Blackeyed Susans. I could really use a bunch of Blackeyed Susans. That way I don't have to dig them up in the heat, right? I could really use a bunch of Blackeyed Susans for my neighbor across the street's house because I really kind of want to do up some flower beds that have just completed. And they've got like 4 or 5 of them in here. 6, 5. And then they've got some yarrow. I mean, I could have a lot of fun in that flower bed. The issue I ran into is, without spoiling it, because eventually I'm going to release that video. I mean, I don't want to spend, would I pay $7 for a Blackeyed Susan? A rudbeckia? I mean, I'd pay $4, but see, that's frustrating. That frustrates me because I want to give these a good home. And then look at all this coreopsis that they have. They have tons of coreopsis in here. But for $7 a piece, I mean, you buy 7 of them, now you're with tax and everything, you're coming in the $50 range. So it's almost like I want to kind of, but for $4, I'm taking the daylilies for $4 a piece. These just are a constant supply of entertainment for me. I like to nestle my daylilies to get a little taller, like these pink ruffles. There we go again. These blushing ruffles get 24 inches tall, and so they can just pop up outside my panicle hydrangeas, and they just look really pretty. And I create these little secret pockets for myself in my landscaping in order to see them. And I just really like how they accommodate that for me, the surprise kind of thing. We've got a banana cream Shasta daisy here. Banana cream in a 2-gallon, normally $22.98, so $11.50. Not too shabby. I mean, that would be a good deal if it wasn't a whiny Shasta daisy. These newer varieties of Shasta daisies I have a really hard time with. Lemongrass, some sort of maiden grass, some more barberry back here, some more pieris. So you got a barberry right here, more pieris. And then I see some autumn joy sedum. Oh, it is autumn joy. There's a lot of different sedums out there. But these, see, so there's plenty. These have powdery mildew real bad, which doesn't surprise me at all because we had a horrible storm yesterday or the day before. I mean, knocking down trees, uprooting trees, just falling over because they couldn't support the amount of wind. Look at all these Cannas. Anyway, the autumn joy sedum, see, squirrel. Autumn joy sedum were originally $6.98, which is going to make them $4 a piece. I do like the idea of that. I do like adding some, if you don't have any Caryopteris or something like that, that last hurrah for the pollinators. I really like autumn joy sedum for that because their pollinators absolutely love them. But look at the cannas. So it's 3 different types of canna. 3 different types of canna. There's like an orange, a red, and a yellow. Doesn't really tell me how big they get. It's probably just designed for you to throw into pots, so you don't need any information. You can text 75268 and get some info, but they're normally $17.98, so, half off, it's really a pretty good deal actually, because we've been talking about Cannas. I would rather order them. You know, I bet I could build a pretty good landscape for under $100 here with just what I'm seeing right now. Autumn Joy Sedum. Oh, here's a red twig dogwood on clearance. Normally $74, so it would be 50% off. That's a good looking one. Nice and big. And then they've got a bunch of these little daylilies, and these like, it's kind of crappy, but whenever they're $5.48, they're only going to go down to $4. This Lowe's doesn't want to negotiate with anything, because if they did want to negotiate, I would take every single one of those coreopsis, because I could definitely use those. So I'm thinking I'm just going to take the daylilies, because I can always put those in my neighbor's backyard. She has actually specifically requested some daylilies, so I just found 3 of them. They're $4 a piece. That's a pill I can swallow. I mean, I know we're all going to be equal in heaven, but you know, I do a little extra, is what I'm saying. I do a little extra. Maybe I get a little closer seat to the table. You know what I mean? All right, let's go buy these bad boys. 12 bucks, I can do that. Hey, before I go check out, I just wanted to show you these. If you guys see any of this Mexican heather for $4 on clearance, or you're gonna pay the 6 because it's normally $5.98. I used to love Mexican heather when we were doing a landscape job and there was some extra just space. You know how like when you're spacing out your perennials and your flowering shrubs and your evergreens and there's just like lots of space. I always wanted to fill that with annuals. And so if my boss would let me have an extra, if my boss would ever let me have an extra $100 or something like that, I would always want to spend it on some annuals. And because I already bullied him into letting me have beneficial fungus and bacteria inoculants and 2-year fertilizer tablets, and then I go after second money. And I would go after get some annuals. And it really, I mean, Mexican heather was kind of my go-to. That and lantana, I did like lantana, but Mexican heather would just fill in so well. And it loved the heat. It was just a good annual to pop in, and it got big. And so that was a good filler plant. It didn't really matter when we were doing it either, because they look so good. And look, there's a honeybee on it right now. So good. I like it. All right, let's go ring out. I got stuff to do. I'm a busy man. I gotta go edit some videos. All right, so that was the Lowe's trip. Not necessarily crazy. I was shooting a video over at Home Depot about plants that we can plant in the heat, and I thought I'd pop over here real quick and see if there's anything worth grabbing. And there was. Unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of money to throw at that clearance stuff right now. I need that Laura from Garden Answers budget is what I need. I need that kind of budget. And then I think I could do a lot of good with that. I think I could, there'd be a lot of people in my neighborhood with some pretty great landscaping. All clearance plants. Wouldn't look good this year, it would look good next year, but you know, it is what it is. So I've got these 3 dailies. This is the mystery daylily. We really don't know what that was, but I got all these for $4.24, so they were basically $5 off, or 50% off, because they were originally $8.48, and I think it's worth it. I think we can throw some inoculant in the hole with them, and we can put some 2-year fertilizer tablets, and I think this would look gorgeous next year, and the year after that they're going to even look better, and the year after that they're going to even look better, right? And that's the great thing about clearance plants, is 3 years from now you can walk over there and you can divide that daylily into 7 or 8 different daylilies, and then say, now the cost of entry is 50 cents a piece. My name's Stuart Moore. This is Landscape Rescue. Thank you very much for letting me into your home talk about plants.